This weekend, the American remake of the Danish 2022 film Speak No Evil drops in theaters. So let's talk about it. Hi, my name is Sean, and I love to talk about movies and TV way too much. With that in mind, go ahead and join me down below in the comments section. Let me know, are you excited to check out Speak No Evil? And give me that point of reference. Have you seen the original film? Have you not? All of that fun stuff. And if you've seen the movie, what did you think about it? So as for me, I intentionally chose not to watch the original Danish film before watching the new version because inherently any time that I've seen a previous version, my review drifts towards just being a comparison to the original film. And I wanted to just review this film on its own merits. Did it work? Did I enjoy it? All of that fun stuff. With that said, let's get started with the good. And I'll cut right to the chase. I really enjoyed this film. The basic setup involves two families that meet each other on vacation, and one family invites the other to come and stay at their farmhouse that's way in the middle of nowhere. And as soon as the one family arrives at their farmhouse, the hosts start behaving in an increasingly inappropriate manner where they keep violating social etiquette, violating boundaries in uncomfortable ways, but the other family doesn't want to be rude or violate their own social etiquette, and so they keep putting up with things as they start getting weirder, creepier, and more dangerous, and it escalates, and what starts out as just kind of this unease and discomfort turns into this terrifying situation by the time you get into the back half of the film. From the very beginning, it's very clear that there's more wrong here than just a family that's not very good at reading social cues. And so there's kind of this lingering sense of danger and dread in the background as you're trying to figure out exactly what's going on with this family. What's the explanation for everything that's happening? And it's also kind of designed in just a way that every time they go too far to push their guests away, their charm kicks back in, their sense of humor, the fun that made the one family want to visit them in the first place kicks back in, that's able to disarm the tension just enough that the family doesn't leave and gets pulled more and more into this bizarro situation. The thing that really pulls it all together is that James McAvoy is just so unbelievably good at playing these charismatic psychos that he's just a very versatile actor in general. And whenever you have that many skills that you can be a charismatic leading man and you can play a lunatic, you combine the two together and you get really fun characters. And so all throughout this movie, you're so uncomfortable with everything that he does, but also you're having so much fun watching him do it. And the other thing that was very surprising about this film is how funny it was. I wasn't expecting to laugh nearly as much during this movie as I did. And it's this combination of watching the reactions of the guests, seeing all of the bizarre things happen, and they kind of respond the way that any normal person would respond, but they're still trying to be polite, and it's really funny. Then the other side to the humor is James McAvoy is just so wildly entertaining that he's able to pull all this humor out of these lines and these moments. And even as you kind of move into the back half of the film, where the tension is at its highest, the danger is the most stark, it still finds little laughs in there. And the thing that was so great about it is that it's able to make you laugh without breaking the tension. The laugh comes from the tension. You're in the middle of this really intense situation and something funny happens. So you still feel all the tension, but you're laughing almost because you're so uncomfortable with everything that's taking place. And that's kind of what the movie does a really good job at. And where the movie's just really nicely crafted is that during the first half of the movie, this couple, the guests, are trying to find a way to politely leave without hurting the feelings of their guest. And you're trying to get out of there, constantly trying to get out of these uncomfortable situations. And as you start to discover everything that's going on and the characters learn everything really happening, they're still just trying to escape this situation. Now it's no longer the discomfort and these awkward people. It's trying to escape these dangerous people, but it's still the same sort of idea of what happens when you go to an interaction and you're stuck and you don't want to be rude, but you just want to get out of there as quickly as is possible. And it does that so wonderfully. And it almost uses discomfort humor as the setup for discomfort horror and terror and thrills. And I loved that combination, and I thought it worked really well in this movie. And to some of what I've alluded to already, it's also a movie that like slowly escalates everything taking place, where starts as a vacation movie, then it turns into a discomfort comedy of sorts, where there's some lingering like things where you're like, what's going on with that? Where is that leaving? What does that mean? And by the end of it, it's just kind of this like high intensity, extremely dangerous climax where you're trying to figure out how to escape this scenario that you found yourself trapped in. For that reason, I thought it was like a really nicely structured movie that was consistently entertaining. It's able to morph its genre. It has just the right runtime where it never feels like it's dragging at any particular part. It keeps feeling like it's building and it's progressing. And as soon as you might start to feel like it's starting to repeat itself too much, or like the family should just get out of there, something changes in the formula to kind of move you to the next segment of the story. And so I just thought it was really nicely crafted. This is very much my kind of movie. Without having a point of reference, since I haven't seen the original one, I thoroughly enjoyed this. There's a couple more things to talk about, so let's move on to the bad. And the big gigantic problem here, if you've seen a single trailer for this movie, there's not a single surprise in the film. I think it still works as more of a time bomb film where you know that this is a ticking bomb. You're waiting for this thing to explode. You're waiting to find out exactly how it's going to explode, but you're not surprised that it's a bomb at all. You know that's exactly what you are watching. You know exactly. It's all telegraphed way in advance, in particular if you've seen the trailer. So none of the twists, the turns in the back half surprised me whatsoever. I still think the movie worked. I still thought the movie was very entertaining, but it didn't surprise me by any of the twists, reveals, anything like that. Pretty well was able to piece it together extremely early in the film, even without having seen the original. So if you're able to avoid as many trailers as is possible, or if you've been able to do that, that'd be tough because they've been playing non-stop for the last 6 months. But that would be the best way to watch this film. And the other thing that was frustrating about it, the good husband, the non-James McAvoy husband in it, is written to be just such a weak, useless character that it starts getting incredibly frustrating during the climax of the film. I watched it with a very lively audience. It was a very fun theatrical experience because they were so lively, but the film was audibly angry with that character during the climax of the film, which kind of also did add to some of the fun to be with an audience where we're all like, yeah, this guy sucks. Yeah, do more, dude. But it was also the sort of thing that was like, why did you write the guy the way that you did? Like, this level of like goofiness is not good. Like, this does not benefit the film to make him feel so incompetent and weak at all this stuff that he's attempting to do. Those things aside, I had a great time with this movie, and it's a movie that plays great with a packed theater, where the nature of, the discomfort sequences, you feel that in the room whenever certain lines were said, whenever certain boundaries were crossed, the room had a tension to it. Likewise with the thrills and the scares, the way the movie's designed, there's sequences in the film where the audience all slowly saw something on screen and you could sense it in the room every time a new person saw it, because they'd be like, oh, And then a second later, someone else will go, oh, I saw it. And it played great with an audience. And just in general, it's a movie that delivered all of the thrills that I expected, all of the discomfort. It delivered the great James McAvoy performance I expected, but it was also so much funnier and just in general more entertaining than I was thinking. Definitely predictable, but highly entertaining. Overall, it's an A- on the entertainment scale, an 8 out of 10. And I say see it opening weekend with a packed theater if you enjoyed the trailers. Then again, I hope that you didn't see any of the trailers because they gave away a little bit too much. This was one of the more entertaining horror thrillers that I have seen this year. I had a great time with it. I recommend you go check it out. Thank you so much for watching, and keep talking movies and TV too much. Bye-bye.